We can probably start. Good morning, good afternoon again to everybody in the crowd. Welcome to this webinar organized by Breeding Resources Initiative and entitled Fostering Operational Excellence, Lean Leadership Microlearning Launch. We have a very interesting panel discussion today. This meeting is being recorded, this webinar, so the recording will be available on the event page after the webinar, and we kindly ask you to mute yourself if you're not talking. There will be a Q&A session at the end after the 4 different presentations that we have today, so you'll be able to ask questions. And if we do not have time to cover them all, you will be also able to send them via email, and our speakers will reply via email as well. So thank you again for joining. I'd like to give the floor to Sharifa Alawi, Breeding Resources Senior Director, who will provide welcoming remarks. Sharifa?
Thanks, Julie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me share my slides. Okay. It's out. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar. Okay. So I'm giving myself only about 5 minutes to open, kind of kick off things. So I just want to remind all of us, where do we start? This is our 3rd year in the initiative. And what did we pledge at the very beginning? So basically, for Breeding Resources, we have this vision of supporting CGIAR transformation by institutionalizing services for breeding operations. And our mission is to provide CGIAR's breeding network access to modern breeding practices, technologies, and analytics offered as institutionalized services. And I think we have been doing this. And by achieving, supporting this vision and doing the mission, our aim is to have breeding done in a data-driven manner through these technological advances that are provided. We want to avoid duplication. We want to facilitate interconnected operations so that we can have greater impact and greater efficiency. So these are all the stuff that you see we do, the services that are being provided, whether it is lab services or the consultancy and advisory from the trialing and nursery team. But at the background, what we're trying to deliver as well with these services is the operational excellence part of it, which is difficult to quantify, and also the way we work in a continuous improvement manner. And this goes across all the services that you receive. Maybe some of you have received this in a very tangible way through trainings and so on, but some perhaps have not seen it, but trust me, it's happening in the background. And we do this, so early last year, we launched this process team webinar that is the team that are doing this work at your centers, across crops, across centers technically. We identify the different teams in different centers working on different crops. I think for the first time through this process, we put together people that are working on different crops from different centers together to build a process management team that supports all these service activities, whether be it trialing or nursery, lab services, and so on. Maybe this team are not as active as when it was first formed, but a lot of the activities that have been started at that time continues until today. And I think a lot of these teams are now within the business process management team led by Amir, and perhaps he'll talk a little bit about that later. Then towards the end of last year, we also then have another session on process management, which also drives towards operational excellence and continuous improvement, where we put together, Sarah Hearn was here as well, so talking about how process management within breeding teams are being formed and so on. And here we also showed how through the work that has been done throughout the year, 2022, 2023, we have put the foundation for establishment of a quality management system within CG. So now with this new webinar that we are going to have tonight, my time, what we want to do is talk about, so all the while, the trainings have been done live through webinars and so on. So what we want to do now is to expand that, bring the training to you, so you don't have to wait essentially for training to happen. You can go in and do this micro learning yourselves. The rest of the speakers tonight will talk more about this. But essentially, you may be thinking, so what's the different? So, you know, like Sharifa is going here back and forth between operational excellence, continuous improvement, and she talked about quality management system as well. So what we want to do is we actually are using lean methodologies to achieve the quality management goals that we have, which at the end of the day will give you the operational excellence that we are seeking for all our work supporting the breeding programs and research programs. So with that, I pass it back to Julie to continue with the seminar, and I hope everyone will learn many things from it and enjoy it as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharifa, for these welcoming remarks. Now I'd like to give the floor to Gustavo Teixeira, who is Breeding Resources Lead for Global Shared Services, and who will provide an overview of operational excellence. Gustavo, the floor is yours. Would you like to share your screen?
I will. Can you hear me okay, Julie?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Just 1 second, please. So can you see my screen, Julie?
It is loading. And we are seeing your slides. There are some gray boxes.
I don't know how to remove that. So if you prefer, maybe you share your screen if you don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, so please do that. Sorry for that. I wasn't
That's okay. No
able
worries.
to fix this on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay, let me
So
just...
yeah, anyway, so yeah, thanks, Julie. It's coming. Yeah, so if you put this presentation mode, it's coming. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, so as Julie said, my name is Gustavo Teixeira. I lead the Global Shared Service component or group into the Breeding and Resource Service team. So today I will explain or show what we have already done in terms of operational excellence and how that is why we need to think for the long term. So next slide, please, Julie. Yeah, operational excellence, in fact, is a component of many things. So we need to have standard work. That's why we need to have the SOPs, for example. We need to train everyone. It's not only training the operational people. Everyone needs to be trained in different things. Leadership as well. So leaders need to be trained on how to manage using operational excellence components. We need to think always in continuous improvement. We need to assess what the projects and our operations to ensure that we are not only to identify the gaps, but also to ensure that the projects that we are implementing, they are delivering results. Of course, to do those things, we need to have the problem-solving skills that will be developed by the trainings. We need to use metrics. We need to think on our strategy and have improvement projects. These are just some of things that we need to have to at the end to really achieve operational excellence. Next slide, please, Julie. That was part of our thought on how we engaged with multiple centers. So we already engaged with CIMIT. So there are some projects that were implemented by CIMIT, and some in Kiboko in Kenya, some here in Mexico, and the result at the end, as I said, is a component of multiple things. So we start with the project, so then become a habit, then become a culture at the end. So it's a process, takes time. So we start with CIMIT. We have projects, many projects with IRI, IITA, CRI. So yeah, so we have many interactions and many activities going, and they are still going with multiple centers. Next slide, please, Julie. So give an example from IRI. IRI started with trainings, and there's still many trainings happening, but they had trainings virtually. One training called Lean Practitioner, then training for what we call Practical Lean. It's a e-learning training, a hybrid model, or that's some. I will show the type of trainings that we have available. It's a e-learning training. And then they also had the train the trainer. Those trainees help them to establish the continuous improvement team. They now have the continuous improvement team, people leading multiple projects and continuous identifying projects for their improvements. Early improvement goals for all. It's at least for the operational team. So all of them have some projects to identify, and they always, as I said before, it's always seeking for continuous improvement, identifying opportunities to improve. Of course, this is just starting point. This, as I said, is a journey, and probably we will never have an end. It's just a continuous process. For the next, it's supposed that no, it's not supposed. It's already happening. So IRI, when we started with IRI, we had some trainings, and the people that were trained in IRI, they supported other centers like CRI, for example, to national program, in this case, to conduct training there. So train the trainers, and also IITA team as well supported them. Collaborate across centers is more like how we not only across centers, but focus on beyond the headquarters. So supporting beyond. Focus on continuous improvement team, really improving the continuous improvement team. And yeah, maybe here is a little bit repetitive, but it's really focus on centers, on really how we move beyond the headquarters. Next slide, please, Julie. So why we think on lean? Lean is a problem-solving methodology, let's say, and this is the engine of continuous improvement. So to improve, we need to have some problem-solving methodology. That's why lean is a system or a methodology that helps to find the best or solution or solve problem solving. Engage everyone to focus on the outcomes that meet the customer needs. We need to focus on what really adds value to our customer. And customer can be the next person in the process. A system that manage process to deliver consistent product to the next step and ultimately to the end user. Yeah, so if you deliver what the next person or the next process require, then at the end you will deliver exactly what the end user need. This is also a system that provides a mindset and the framework for solving problems and continuously improving. As I said, there's a methodology to problem solving. So that's why we promote Lean. Next slide, please, Julie. As I said, so we have multiple Lean or learning opportunities. We have Lean prediction and training, practical Lean training, train the trainer training, and soon we will launch the Lean leadership training. Those trainings, some of them are available online, so e-learning materials that we have developed. Some are more like on person training that we can we provide if you need. We adjust that and agree on how and when. And the Lean leadership is coming soon. I believe that Teresa, and we'll talk a little bit more about that today. Next slide, please, Julie. So far, we have trained more than 200 people in different type of trainings from different organizations. So this is the table and the graph showing number of people that were trained. So as you can see, we trained people in Lean, 140 Lean practitioners, 87 prediction Lean, trained trainer, and total quality management as well. So with these training, as I said, it's a continuous exercise. We cannot really stop training people. People learn, people train everyone every day, as always Teresa says. This is a continuous exercise. Next one, please, Julie. Yeah, thanks. This is what I had. So for that, I will hand over to you, Julie, or Teresa. Thank you.
Okay, this is Teresa. Shall we just continue with you with the slides, Julie? Okay, great. I'm Teresa Heitman. I've been working with the BRS organization for a number of years now, and working with them on operational excellence and continuous improvement. Next slide, please. So we want to provide some resources for Lean leaders. We've done quite a bit of training of all of the staff, and we sometimes we need to have our leaders, not sometimes, we always need to have our leaders involved in order for us to sustain our gains. So what is a Lean leader? A true Lean leader is value driven and puts the needs of the customer first. So we're only doing in our processes what is valuable for our customers, what they're willing to pay for. A Lean leader develops new leaders and helps their team adopt a culture of continuous improvement. So if you're a Lean leader, these are your two main tasks. Next slide, please. I want to talk a little bit about different styles of leadership. You may have come from what we call a vertical type organization. That is more of a top-down structure. This is what I would call old style of management. Maybe there's a production focus. The more you produce, the better. Budgets are extremely important, and not that they aren't important, but there's always a focus on cutting budgets. You're rewarded for making your numbers. Leaders are separated from the work, and supervisors manage people rather than lead people. And there's not as much as much ability to get all of the people's ideas and use them to improve the process. In a horizontal organization, which is the way a lean leader would lead, there's focus on the process. And the process is there because there's a purpose for the process. And that purpose for the process is the customer. In a lean organization, we want to make our problems visible, not hide them. And when we make them visible, then we can activate problem-solving teams to either reduce or eliminate what's causing them. The leaders are focusing on the work. They know what's going on with the people who are on the front lines. They're using the knowledge of those people to improve the system, and the supervisors work with the people to solve problems. So if you're a leader, think about what type of leader you might be. And I'll just mention that if you're a vertical leader or a top-down leader, and that's how you've come through an organization, it can be very challenging to move to the horizontal type of leadership, but you can do it by just understanding what type of leader you are. Next slide, please. Just a short story about what can happen in a vertical organization. This is a story about a harvest bags. Most of you are probably familiar with harvest bags, but there was a goal to reduce cost. Sound familiar, right? So who do you go to? Who spends all the money? The purchasing department. So we tell them, find your high item lines. Let's get these costs reduced. They put out a request for quote to everyone supplying harvest bags. They adopt the lowest quote with the permission of the supervisor, who did not ask the staff how these harvest bags would work, but made the assumption there was not a problem or not a difference from one company to another. Everybody saved a lot of money, get a big pat on the back, did a great job. However, the harvest bags come in, the harvest comes in, and now it's time to work with those harvest bags in laying out those harvest bags so that the breeders can see this seed and make notes on that. Started getting complaints from the technicians that are doing the layout process. These harvest bags are hard to open. It's taking a lot of time. We have to have more resources working in this process. So I went to see what was happening on the front line, observing the process. And I noticed that the old harvest bags, which were kind of mixed in together, they took 4 seconds to open. The new harvest bags took as much as 11 seconds to open. Why was this happening? Well, this is where we really need to understand the work and how things are being done. It almost took twice as much time to open a new bag. Talking to the workers, what's the problem? Well, the black string it catches on the netting on the harvest bag, and it makes it difficult to open. So maybe if we would have worked across organizations, across the different functions and departments, as we would in a horizontal organization, we would have done some experimenting with different harvest bags. Or maybe yet we even would have, when we need to reduce total costs, we look at the whole process and have the people doing the work figuring out where the opportunities for improvement are. Maybe it's not with the harvest bag at all. So this just a short story of what can happen. Next slide, please. There's a gentleman named Jeffrey Liker who was a former employee of Toyota, and he writes a lot about the Toyota production system, which is the same as Lean. And I like this model, 4P model, he calls it. The base is the philosophy, the mindset of being customer driven, the mindset that the people working in the process are the best ones to improve the process, and that we want to make our processes flow in the next P. How do we eliminate non-value added activity that's not adding value to our customer? Well, we work on respecting, challenging, growing, developing our people and our suppliers to make our processes flow. And we solve problems continuously, and we continuously learn. So this is one of the models that I think is something that is good for a lean leader to embrace. Next slide, please. When we solve problems, we use a scientific model, and many of you have probably seen that. And if you haven't, you're going to keep seeing a lot more of it. Plan, do, study, act. It's an iterative process, and it helps us to continuously improve, and maybe just incremental improvements, but over time, those incremental improvements add up to a lot of improvement and actually redesigned, if you will, processes. Next slide, please. So there are 6 elements of lean leadership. So a lot of times we talk about lean leadership, but you know, maybe if you're a leader, you don't know what that means. How do I make that tangible? So in these, if we look at these 6 elements, what I've tried to do is to point out a couple of things for each element that you as a lean leader would be doing that would be demonstrating your leadership and supporting the organization. So in developing business strategy, you need to plan and effectively deploy the business strategy. Make sure everyone in the organization knows what that is and how they fit into the big picture and how they help the business accomplish its goals. Grow the organization with freed up resources. As you problem solve, you're going to free up resources, time, dollars, people resources. How can you apply them so they add more value? Develop that culture strategy. Ensure the organization knows what the customer values. Promote teamwork, because we're going to solve our problems using teams rather than individual in most cases. Provide everyone with the opportunity to learn, especially to learn about lean. Design systems. You're going to be providing resources, sponsors, time, and dollars to improve, for improvements to improve that whole system design. Be the model. Be present and visible. Go to the Gemba. Gemba is a Japanese word which means the workplace. Go find out what's really happening with the people that are actually doing the work. Ask them where their problems are. Help them to solve their problems. Practice the scientific model. There it is again. Coach and develop others. That's your job as a leader, is to develop more leaders. Ensure that people doing the work are the ones involved in improving the work. Have a robust problem-solving skills. As Gustavo mentioned, problem solving is the engine of continuous improvement. Motivation and accountability. Measure your processes. Measure the things that matter, things that are directly related to meeting those customer needs. How are we doing? And then when we have accomplishments, let's celebrate those. So hopefully that helps a little bit with your understanding of what the accountability and responsibilities are of a lean leader. Next slide, please. And our next speaker is Steve Wilson from CIRAS. Next slide, please. Go ahead,
Thank
Julie.
you, Teresa. Steve, so your biography is on the screen. So you're from the strategic advisor for the Center for Industrial Research and Services, CIRAS, at the Iowa State University. So there is a bit of information about your background. Would you like to share your slides, or?
Yes, if you'll go ahead
Yeah.
and see, I will take over from there.
Okay, that's great. So,
Thank you, everyone. It's good to be with you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So good day to all. Let me go ahead and begin sharing here. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to reposition you all just a little bit here. But I appreciate you giving me some time this morning to to share. So lean leadership, right? The role of lean leaders in sustaining operational excellence. I like to take it from a perspective of kind of the what, the what, the why, and the how. And so to begin with, looking at that, excuse me, the what, the why, and the how, what we're to be doing, right? We're to be creating and a compelling, communicate a compelling vision, if you will. So again, beginning with that, what are we supposed to be doing? And this is echoing some of what Teresa was sharing as well. But what are we to be doing? Creating that compelling need for the vision, what the vision is, and also communicating that. So we begin again with the what, the why, and the how. And the what involves fostering a culture of continuous improvement, reducing waste, empowering teams to perform at their best. Right? This is high level. The why, to achieve and sustain operational excellence. Organizations need leaders who can drive engagement, maintain focus on the lean principles, and also inspire continuous improvement. And how? There's a lot of different hows, but I'm going to focus on something from Cousy and Posner, their authors, and what they refer to as the 5 practices of exemplary leadership to align lean principles with everyday leadership behaviors. So just to introduce you to a little bit, I would encourage you to find this book. They are renowned experts in the field of leadership, and they authored this book called The Leadership Challenge, which is a book that focuses or introduces their 5 practices of exemplary leadership. It's a model, and which has really become a cornerstone in leadership development. So very high level overview, and then I'm going to touch on each one of these. But the very first one is model the way. Set the example by aligning actions with your shared values. Second is inspire a shared vision. Third is to challenge the process. Fourth is to enable others to act. And then lastly, fifth, encourage the heart. So let's take and break these down a little bit more. So model the way. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to define and demonstrate the values and the behaviors that promote a lean culture. So lean leaders, as you know, play a crucial role in defining what operational excellence looks like within their organizations. So by modeling the values like respect, humility, continuous improvement, leaders set a very powerful example of demonstrating lean behaviors such as actively engaging with teams, listening to frontline workers, seeking feedback. It reinforces a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute to problem solving and improvement efforts, which is what your role as a leader is to do. And the why behind it, leaders who model lean principles set the standard for others. So when you model lean behaviors and lean principles, it creates credibility, trust, encouraging employees to follow suit. This alignment then creates a strong, unified approach to work, making continuous improvement an integral part of the organizational culture. And it also helps bridge the gap between strategy and daily operations. So by modeling the way, leaders ensure that lean principles are not just slogans, but are practiced consistently across all of the organization, all levels of the organization. So the how. Right? It's great the what, the why, but how. Consistently act in line with lean values. I like to kind of dial these down into respect your people. Again, these are lean principles from a century ago. Respect your people. Show respect by valuing employees' input, involving them in decisions, recognizing their contributions. Know your people. Understand their strengths, challenges, motivations of your team members. It enables leaders to support them more effectively. And then solve problems with your people. Collaborative problem solving is at the heart of lean. So engage teams in directly identifying root causes and developing solutions. Another great piece of this is establishing clear expectations and creating standard work procedures that reflect lean values. So let's go ahead and take a look at that next one, which is share the vision or inspire a vision. Again, looking at using the model, the what, the why, and the how. What are we to do here? Create and communicate a compelling vision. So your role as a leader is to create that, and a compelling vision for operational excellence serves what one might call a North Star or a guiding star for the organization. It outlines the desired future state, clarifies the purpose behind the lean transformation. So as a leader, you need to make this vision clear, relevant, achievable, emphasize how it improves not just business outcomes, but also the work environment for employees. What's the why behind this? It unites the team around common goals. Simon Sinek talks about the why, right? Know the why. So when team members understand and buy into a shared vision, they feel more connected to the organization's mission. This unity fosters greater engagement, collaboration, commitment to lean initiatives, making it easier to achieve that long-term sustainable success that you are looking to achieve. How do we do this? We engage team members in developing the vision. Engage them. Involve employees at all levels in the development of the vision to ensure that it reflects the reality of their daily work. It addresses the challenges that they face. And this inclusion not only strengthens the vision, but it also builds a sense of ownership and accountability among your team members. And then lastly on this one, articulate the benefits of lean practices. Clearly communicate how those lean principles, again, eliminating waste, improving processes, empowering employees, how they contribute to achieving the vision. And then, inspire that commitment through regular communication, storytelling, just like Teresa was doing, sharing that story of success and how the process works, sharing those real life examples of lean success within the organization. The next one, challenge the process, encourage innovation, experimentation, continuous improvement. Lean leadership thrives on the principle that every process can be improved. Everybody, every day, everywhere, right? By encouraging innovation and experimentation, leaders empower their teams to find better ways of working, which drives incremental and those breakthrough improvements. So the mindset here shifts the organization from merely maintaining standards to actively pursuing excellence, making continuous improvement a core part of the culture rather than just an occasional effort, or as we might say, that flavor of the month. Why do we do that? To eliminate the waste, enhance the processes, adapt to the changing conflicts. So again, innovation, experimentation, critical for identifying and eliminating waste, improving process efficiencies, staying competitive in a dynamic environment. And, questioning the existing methods is key to progress. Lean leaders inspire their teams to not accept the status quo, but to actively seek out inefficiencies and propose solutions that lead to better outcomes for the organization and its customers. How do we do this? We foster a culture where new ideas are welcomed, and create an environment where team members feel safe to voice their ideas without fear of criticism. Recognize those, reward creativity, the initiative, showing that every contribution is valued. And here we're not looking at just because it gave us a good outcome, but because somebody had that took that initiative to submit an idea for improvement. And I always used to push back on this, but view failures as learning opportunities. Shift the perspective on failure by treating it as a valuable part of the learning process. You want to celebrate those lessons learned from unsuccessful experiments as much as the successful ones. And again, encourage every team member to suggest improvements, empower everyone in the organization to identify problems. Again, as Teresa pointed out, it's those that are closest to the process, the problem, the issue. They're generally the ones that have the best ideas as to how to improve that. So identify systems and processes and encourage people to challenge the process. Number 4, empower team members by building trust, fostering collaboration. Right? Empowerment and lean leadership means giving team members the trust, the tools, the authority they need to take ownership of their work and contribute to the organization's success. So by fostering a collaborative environment, you as leaders enable teams to work together effectively. You're leveraging diverse perspectives to solve the problems and, again, drive that continuous improvement. You've got to build trust because it is the foundation of empowerment. When leaders demonstrate trust in their teams, it builds confidence, encourages employees to step up, make decisions, and take initiative. Why? Empowered teams are more engaged, effective, and capable of driving continuous improvement. Empowered teams are the engine of, I like to refer to it as the engine of lean organizations. When people feel trusted, valued, engagement levels increase, leading to better performance, higher morale, and again, greater innovation. How do we do this? We provide resources, remove barriers. Remember, the value that you bring as a leader is to do these things. You are to provide those resources. You are to remove barriers, delegate authority, encourage decision-making, ensure that everybody has the appropriate tools, remove the barriers. That's where we add value. Enabling the people that add value to the work actually do the work. So identify, eliminate those obstacles that hinder team performance, and then delegate authority as well. Share that decision-making power. You're not the only one that needs to be making those decisions, and encourage decision-making at all of the levels. Enable others to act, or also known as, encouraging the heart. Process improvement. Double check my slide. It should be encourage the heart up at the top. But recognize contributions and celebrate the achievements is what you need to be doing here. Recognize those contributions. It's a key aspect of lean leadership that often gets overlooked. Just because you might not necessarily need to be recognized and celebrated because of accomplishments you've done doesn't mean that resonates with everybody. So it's not just about reaching the end goal, but also about valuing the journey and the efforts of those that were involved, the lessons learned. Why do we do this? It plays a critical role in maintaining that high level of engagement and innovation among team members. It sends a powerful message that the work being done is valuable, and also that it aligns with the organization's lean vision. It reinforces lean behaviors, principles. Again, you're encouraging the right behaviors. And how do we do this? We can acknowledge individual and team successes. Take the time to recognize both those individual accomplishments and the collective. Personal recognition makes employees feel valued. Also then with the group as well. It's just a dual approach. It strengthens the bonds within the team and encourages everyone to keep striving for that excellence and mark those key milestones in the lean journey. Whether it's the successful completion of a project, a process improvement, or hitting performance targets. Just celebrate these moments. It not only boosts morale, but also keeps the momentum of continuous improvement alive. And lastly, provide constructive feedback. Recognition goes hand in hand with constructive feedback. So while celebrating the achievements, also provide guidance on areas for improvement. So this is just a very quick view or approach that I like to take as it relates to lean leadership and how to create that sustainable competitive advantage in the world of lean leadership and operational excellence.
Thank you, Steve, for this very insightful presentation. Thank you so much. I'd like to give the floor now to Amer Najm, who's the lead for the Business Process Management Unit of Breeding Resources Initiative. Amer?
Thank you. Thank you all, and welcome again, everybody. I hope you can see my screen. Is it in full screen mode?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining, and thank you, Teresa and Steve, for sharing the message. I mean, it's a really valued message that you have given us today. Well, my name is Amr Najm, and I'm the business process management lead. And within our scope of work, we rely heavily on continuous improvement to develop all our processes and work on improvements. We also, within business process management, we have a capacity development section or department, and soon we will be sharing or launching our LMS, which is scheduled hopefully to be up and running in October and shared with everybody on our platform. We, as Teresa has mentioned, or Sharifa has mentioned also, that we will be providing micro sessions or micro leadership sessions, like small videos to be shared with everyone. Okay, this is for to send the message about or to keep the flow running for continuous improvement within the teams. And the principle is to have these short messages. We all know that we are all pressed with time. We don't want to spend a lot of time on, let's say, listening to lengthy presentations or lengthy videos. So very short, distinct messages with direct, clear, let's say, directions or insights. And you can schedule that within your teams just to have this little chat, listen to that video or watch that video, reflect on it for a little while, and then during that team, put that, the team huddle or that team meeting, put this into practice and see how you can plan, let's say, the interaction with that message in perspective for the let's say coming week or 2 weeks, depending on when your regular team meetings are, and then come back to it afterwards with a reflection on how things went, just evaluate the performance and what areas you can improve and take into action. Okay, using also so many of the tools that we have in continuous improvement methodologies. Knowing that also, they have many themes for our micro-learning or micro-learning modules or videos sessions. Okay, they're lengthy list if you want, and then so many things that things are infinite. Okay, like for example, the lean philosophy that we talked about today, respect for people, visual management, okay, team skills, change management tools, the Gemba that was mentioned by Teresa also today, the lean transformation model. Okay, so many of those tools, those will be shared on our LMS, and they'll be readily usable for your team meetings to reflect on during those sessions. You will also find there are many websites and many platforms, like even on YouTube, you'll find those like short messages, with different themes, different types of message also with again, there are so many different concepts within continuous improvement and lean methodology. Like this is, for example, on the 5 whys. This is on lean transformation models. You have also others on getting started with lean thinking and practice, and maybe this would help also initiate the discussion with your team. So things are also out there. We're trying to cater things more into our environment, our research facilities, and see how we can provide this message that is valuable and meaningful also to all your teams. With that, I conclude what message that I'm portraying, and I would like to thank you all for joining us here today. I'll hand over back to Julie.
Thank you, Omer. So as you can see on the screen, or could see, you can, that's okay. You can follow us and the activity of genetic innovation, yeah, more generally. So on LinkedIn and Twitter and social media, and you can also visit Breeding Resources website, which is hosted on CGIAR.org. So thank you, Omer, for this final presentation. We now have a few minutes for questions, and then we'll wrap up and close the webinar. So if there are any questions from the crowd, you can either add them to the chat or raise your hand and ask them directly to the different speakers. So I don't know if there are any. And if there are no questions, we can give participants a few minutes back on the schedule. Okay, I don't think there are any questions for the speakers. So we can probably just close this webinar. The recording will be uploaded as well as the presentations on the event page, and everything will be shared on social media, on genetic innovation channels. We wish you a good afternoon and see you soon for another webinar. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Glad that you made the time commitment.
Thank you.